So we're going to talk about intuition bridging the gap, how it does that. Intuition's job is bridging the gap. Your job is what are you creating. Remember, intuition cannot tell you what you should create, who you should date, what career you should pursue, etc. But it will show you how to make it happen once you commit to your outcome. So once you say, hey, I'm going to do this career, right? I am going to be a lawyer. I'm going to be a transformational expert. I am going to be a doctor. Like once you commit to the path, intuition will show you how to bridge that gap. Once you're clear on the relationship that you want, intuition can show you how to create that relationship. Once you get clear on the kind of wealth you want to build or the money you want to make, intuition can bridge the gap to that wealth and that money. Once you get clear on the health and the vitality that you're committed to being inside of and what you want to create, intuition can bridge the gap to supporting you to fulfill on that and creating that outcome. And so your job is the what. Intuition's job is how does it happen? How do I do that? And so how does intuition do this? And what do we need to make sure we support intuition with so that it happens, right? Because intuition isn't some magical force that just sort of gives us the answers in the way people think. First step, we got to have focus down, so we have to be committed to what we're going to create. And then once we make that important to us, right, we're committed to it, so we focus on it with consistency, and we put emotional meaning behind that, our unconscious self goes, this is important. And so then intuition starts to look kind of like a search engine, like Google, for any information that pertains to you fulfilling that outcome that you're committed to, that's important to you. And it starts just sort of eating up information, right? It starts to look for information that is pertinent to the outcome that you want to achieve, whether it's who you want to become or a result you want to get, etc., like the examples that I just gave a little while ago. And then it starts, taking that information and compiling it. Just like artificial intelligence does today. It's like your intuition is the most advanced AI that will probably ever exist. And it starts sort of learning from that information that you provide it, and it starts putting together strategies or ideas or ways in which we can bridge that gap. And so all of a sudden you start having these ideas, right? It's like, and they come at obscure times. And the reason ideas come at obscure times is because it's when you're on autopilot. And that's a lot of times when intuition is most active, believe it or not, is when we're sort of not actively engaged in something, right? So meaning a lot of times I'll have intuitive hits in the shower because it's just my routine. I'm not really thinking, but I'm just kind of on autopilot, right? It's like you're shampooing your hair and you're soaping up and you're towel drying, you're just kind of getting through the steps. And then all of a sudden your unconscious though is working that whole time and it's putting information together, and then it presents ideas to your conscious mind. And because you're on autopilot, we're more likely to hear those conscious ideas presented from the unconscious. We're more likely to hear them or notice them than when we're sometimes frantic or doing the things of life. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I should write that book, or here's the solution to such XYZ problem. This is why people sometimes dream about the answers. We've heard about scientists working on a problem, and then all of a sudden they go to sleep and they have a dream and the answer is given to them. And this is why people have come to think that it's like this mystical, magical force, is because if they're dreaming about it, clearly some higher power gave them the answer. And I'm not saying there's not an element of that to it, but again, the reason that answer is able to come to them in their dreams is because the unconscious self has been working on the answer, how to produce that outcome over and over again. Like in a scientist's example, they've been working on that problem every day for months or maybe years, and giving the unconscious self lots of information. And your dreams are almost, one of your most, prevalent, avenues to access from your conscious mind, the unconscious self. So if you dream or you have lucid dreams, you're accessing your unconscious self in a very direct way when you're asleep. And so if you're giving your brain and your unconscious self the right information, this is why intuitive answers sometimes come from dreams and go, here's the thing to write, or here's the book you should do, or here's how to structure your company or your entity, or here's the investment to make, because you've been focusing on it, and now all of a sudden the brain, the unconscious, has enough information to put the puzzle together. And then all of a sudden it presents you an idea. But the thing you've got to realize is intuition is its next best thought about how to get where it is you want to go. It might be the answer, but typically intuition is just giving you the next best idea, the next best step to take action toward the fulfillment of your idea. And so you take that intuitive step, and then you want to check and measure, hey, is it progress? Am I closer to the outcome than I was before? And if you are, you're on track. Keep going and hold faith that it's going to happen, that it's going to occur. And continue to study and continue to research and continue to take action and gain experiential knowledge in the space of what you're trying to achieve. Experiential knowledge is, hey, if I want to get in great shape, I need to go to the gym and actually feel what it's like to work out. And I need to make that happen on a daily basis, so I learn the difference between, what it is to lift weights as opposed to jog, as opposed to yoga, as opposed to Pilates. And you try different things while being clear on the outcome that you want to create. And those experiences are a form of learning. And then you might read books on nutrition, and you might read articles on training, and you might read articles written by coaches, and you might read, right, you kind of absorb information. You might watch people at the gym who are in great shape and see what are they doing, and so we learn visually. And as we explore the space that we're looking to create a different outcome, your intuition is just taking in that information, like Google. It's just absorbing it, searching, taking in the information. That artificial intelligence, that AI of your unconscious self is putting the information together, comes up with your next best plausible step based on the information that it has. This is why it's a next best plausible step, and then you learn new information. You continue repeating that process until intuition eventually gets you to your destination. And then once you're to your destination, intuition can be relied on to not only maintain it, but optimize it as you move forward. And so as we talk about power of intuition, if you want to really jump into training intuition, there are those 3 elements to training intuition that make sure that it has the ability to bridge the gap in the way that we're talking about. Intensity of focus on the thing and the outcome that we're going to achieve until we achieve it. Number 2, you've got to learn how to tie emotional importance to that outcome that you're looking to achieve, and you got to train that with regularity. And then number 3, you've got to feed your unconscious self through the conscious mind and efforts all the information required to put the puzzle together to fulfill the outcome at the end of the day. If you get good at this process, you train this ability. Again, it's an ability that you train. Everybody's capable of it. Not everybody learns the steps. Not everybody trains the capacity. Then you'll be able to leverage intuition to literally create whatever it is you want. And so it bridges the gap by way of looking to the future. It's future-based while bringing these 3 elements together: focus, emotional importance, and knowledge, information, and then eventually it puts that puzzle together. And remember, intuition isn't necessarily going to give you the next 20 steps. It's going to give you the next best idea that it can come up with to move toward the outcome you're looking to achieve. You repeat that process maybe twice, maybe 10 times, maybe 100 times until the outcome occurs. And the more you repeat this process, the better you're going to get at it, the more efficient you're going to get, and the more fun it's going to become. So look at something you've been looking to create, something you've been committed to, and see where can I refine that process from an emotion standpoint, from a focus standpoint, from an information standpoint. And if you want some support with it, I'm here to support you along the way. Jump into a training program. Would love to have you. Enjoy.